Rafter was smart with his serving, good kick serve, and he served volley on both serves. Playing that attacking game, for me, I never really liked.
I never really had a lot of confidence growing up as a kid. I was always losing. I was trying to play a serve volley style game, and I was a bit of a scrawny little kid. And then I filled out and then sort of learned how to play in this awkward body of mine.
While Rafter may not have seen his potential, his Davis Cup captain, John Newcomb, did, and helped ignite Rafter's game in 1997 after he had fallen into a slump.
97 at Open, we played France in Davis Cup. He played Cedric Pioline, who was then number 9 in the world. 2 sets to love down after leading 5-1 in the second and 4-1 in the breaker. He sat down on the chair and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Newt, that's the biggest choke I've ever seen." I lost it and started screaming at him. He walked out in the court and started playing like Pat Rafter. He won 6-4 in the 5th. 8 months later, he won the US Open.
Whatever sport you do or whatever profession you do, you have dreams, and this is to win a Grand Slam. And so then I played the next few years with a lot more relaxed attitude.
With this new attitude, Pat would win a second consecutive US Open in 1998, reach 2 Wimbledon finals, and achieve the #1 ranking. Pat Rafter, one of several down-under success stories you'll find in the top 100.
First Aussie in the Open era to win back-to-back U.S. Open titles. Paul, he played Pete Sampras 16 times. You were there for many of those. What was the biggest challenge when facing Pat Rafter?
Just the relentless pressure. You know what he's going to do. You know he's going to serve and volley. You know he's going to come at you. But he doesn't give you any time to breathe. He's one of the best athletes, I think, that's played the game. One of the greatest volleyers that's played the game. So he gives you no momentum to grab onto because there's no time when you play him coming forward. Not great from the back of the court. One thing I love about Pat Rafter, though, he is a blue-collar professional. He always has been. He told me stories about when he started up driving through Europe in a VW bus with a group of friends trying to make it on tour. Didn't think he was going to be able to do that. And he marched his way all the way up to #1 in the world, back-to-back U.S. Opens, back-to-back finals at Wimbledon. So this kid was something special, loved his work ethic, loved his mentality, and boy, did he know his own game, kept it really simple, and just did what he does best, and he did it all the way to #1 in the world.
Drove through Europe in a VW. That's an awesome story. And then, of course, gets to #1 in the world, Lindsay, the first Aussie to do that since John Newcomb, kind of continuing the legacy of Australian great players. Where does he fit in there?
Oh, he fits pretty high up. Every player that comes through in Australia is very well of the history of the sport and who has come before them. And Pat took a lot of pride in representing that. His attitude, his work ethic, how he treated others. He's an outstanding example of how it should be done. One of the reasons why he has struggled with some of the players in this current generation is he doesn't really relate to that mindset. Everything was about working hard, trying to achieve what you could, enjoying it when you're off the court, but really putting such a great effort into it. And one of my greatest memories of him was not necessarily a victory, but how about that defeat to Goran, Wimbledon? Absolutely heartbreaking. 5th set on that Monday when it was played. It's not easy to lose a match like that, and he handled it like a champ.
I grew up in the 90s. As a teenager, that's sort of the time you really fall in love with the game, and Rafter was one of my top favorite guys to watch. He played that serve and volley game, which is exactly what I love to play. I grew up trying to emulate, and I was fortunate enough to spend some time around him. VJ was still playing some senior events, so I got to see Pat right in his heyday at tournaments like Cincinnati and all the U.S. hardcourt events, and he was just a gem of a guy. I was this annoying, chubby little Indian kid, running around him, trying to, watch him play and so forth, but he was just so nice, so welcoming, and it's something that I'll never forget.
The only player to go undefeated, Paul, against Roger Federer when meeting at least 3 times and beat him on every single surface. What does that say about Pat Rafter?
I think it says something about his variety, too, right? We think of him just a great serve and volleyer, but don't forget the first major he did well in was the French Open, getting to the semifinals in 97 before he won the U.S. Open just before that. The reason for that is because he's a great mover. He knew how to slide on the clay, knew how to use his own game. And for me as a coach, there's no stronger asset than truly knowing your own game and what you need to do in big moments. Pat did it, and did it on every surface, and did it extremely well.
He certainly did. And Pat Rafter inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame class of 2006. Still much more to come here on Tennis Channel Live.